Hello, America. It's time to check the nonsense at the door, clear the cobwebs between your ears, and have a rational-ish conversation. This is the lost art of common sense. That's right, America. I'm Josh.
And I'm Kevin.
And this is the lost art of common sense, brought to you by our awesome merch shop. Check out all the designs, link in the description below. And if we update anything, we'll let you know, but we're generally always adding to it. We're up to 40 items. This week,
Hold on. Remember
to like, subscribe, comment, share, and buy our shit. Once we get up to 100 followers on Rumble, we're going to be giving some free shit away. So like, subscribe, share, comment, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, all that crap.
This week, which obviously it happened back on June 6th, but the date of this recording is June 6th, so we figured we'd talk about D-Day. Kevin, June 6th marked the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Do you have any thoughts about the men/boys who put their lives on the line to protect America and the world?
Well, I mean, there was a reason they were called the greatest generation. It's because they put their lives on the line, and a lot of them never came back. They made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom, for protecting the world from tyranny of the Nazis and the Japanese. So, I mean, what can you say about them that, it's awe-inspiring is what it is. To hear their stories, to watch the films, the shows, like, the one from Steven Spielberg with Saving Private Ryan.
Didn't somebody say that was, at least to date, and I don't know if there's been any after that, but that was like one of the most as accurate, what do you call that?
Depiction
of what it was actually like.
Of D-Day?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be hard to imagine what it would be like to be on a boat, having gunfire go over top, people getting shot in the boat, getting the boat shot up, and for that drawbridge in the front to just drop and just bullets whizzing past you, and to be able to just run up and do your job and not just run away. I mean, it's crazy how brave they were and how it's just crazy. It's almost unimaginable.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. They're just working their way up the beach, and people are, getting just shredded. I mean, that was one of the deadliest days of the war, I think.
Yeah. And
just pushing toward these fortified, because we didn't have the weapons we have now. I mean, yeah, they could bombard stuff from the ships, but I mean, yeah, their bravery was just...
It was mostly done by foot soldiers. I mean, it was done, hand to hand. I mean, not hand to hand, but I mean, it wasn't drones. It wasn't... I mean, there was air support and stuff, but I mean, it wasn't like it is today with smart missiles, all that shit.
Yeah, smart missiles, bunker busters. Like today, you would just easily eliminate the beachhead.
Yeah.
There's no fortification that they could build that's going to stop our troops from moving. I think that's why everything's gone to urban style warfare. I don't know what would happen if two major world powers like that went at it, but back then, they shelled them with artillery, but if they were in a hardened gun bunker.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that they definitely earned that title, and some of them carried over from World War I. I think that's why I watched that Fat Electrician guy, because there's a lot of cool stories and a lot of people that did some pretty amazing things during that.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever seen it, but have you ever seen Band of Brothers?
I think so, but like back when it first came out, so it's been a while.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite shows about World War II. The Pacific was all right. I don't know. I didn't think it was nearly as good, but
I think the Pacific now there are some cool stories some pretty impressive stories.
I meant the show, The Pacific, not like...
Oh, yeah. Well, they just there wasn't as a lot of the Pacific was. There was islands that we were fighting over, but a lot of it was bombings, and so it was almost like a different style of warfare
Yeah.
that we were doing in this Pacific theater.
Well, that's more like they were doing more like a guerrilla style warfare.
Yes, like they had tunnels everywhere and they were very entrenched. Do you think the 18 to 25-year-old men and women of today could do what the men did on D-Day in 1944?
I think some could. I think it's not nearly the amount. I think today's youths, I guess, is what
Utes.
Utes are. They don't have hardened lives like the people, the men did back then. Um, the men and women of today have been coddled for the most part. I mean, there's exceptions everywhere, but and it's probably a greater amount than I'm thinking, but I don't think so. No, I just don't think they would have the courage to run into fire and you know put their lives on the line for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, there's men in the military. There's people in the military that would do that. There's, and I would hope most of the people in the military. The problem is the size of our military during World War II compared to now. I don't think you have a. I don't think the pool's there to get the amount of people needed to do something like that today.
No, I don't think
Hopefully, you
so
wouldn't
either.
have to today, but I mean, there's a lot of people that joined because of the
Because
what
of
do
the
you call
war.
that? Well, no, I'm talking about today. Like not today. Like this was years ago before the 20-year war in the Middle East started. But a lot of people were joining for the GI Bill, and then they're like, "Well, shit, I didn't join the military to go to war." So you know, I don't know. And nowadays it's different, but yeah, people back then like they had a draft, but like people were wanting to join to fight for the country. And it kind of makes me, and I don't think a lot of people think that, if we would have lost the war, we would be speaking German. I honestly do not think that there's any way that Japan or Germany could have ever taken over the United States.
No, I don't think so either.
Everybody over in Europe might have been speaking German.
It might be Europe, Russia. Would be I think Europe and Russia would be German. Then Asia would be Japan.
There's a big contest, I guess,
And
back
I don't
then
know what
because,
India would be.
well, at the beginning of World War II, apparently Russia annexed a couple countries too into the Soviet Union. So it
Oh,
is
sure.
either going to be we're either going to be a world war with communism or fascism, and it ended up being fascism. And there's this conspiracy theory that Britain kind of goaded the Germans into getting into another world war, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it to talk about it. I just
I
saw
have
it
no
on this
idea.
short video. It's like, oh yeah, the Britons let them get bombed, or they bomb themselves to get in a war with Germany, and it's like, oh my god. Okay,
I feel like there's a conspiracy theory about anything.
there is literally conspiracy theory about it,
So I mean, I don't know
except
which
for the ones
ones.
I believe. They're all true.
They're the ones that are true. That
Oh,
moon
the
is
other ones
made
are
of cheese.
stupid. Yeah, it is. True story.
It's a giant
Uh,
cow.
Mr. Cow. 73% of U.S. citizens went to church back then, and 96% of families had two parents in the home. Do you think these factors contribute to the bravery needed on D-Day?
Absolutely. I think when you're not when you're focused on uh more than yourself, more than your when you're focused on country and God
Or when you believe
and
in something more than yourself?
yes, and that you believe in God, you believe in your country, you believe in freedom, that's when you're willing to sacrifice your life for these things. Maybe you're not as afraid to die. I'm sure. I mean, everybody's afraid to die. Everybody, no one wants to die. But if you believe there's a higher power and there's a better place, if you do the right thing, if you do the right thing, if you sacrifice yourself for the betterment of man, there is a better chance for you to be brave than if you believe in nothing.
Well, I think that's what causes people to jump on grenades and shit.
Yeah.
Because if you're all about self preservation,
Yeah, you're all wrong.
then and the funny thing is like, and a lot of people, not a lot of people, but like the race baiters will talk about how that's privilege, blah blah. Back then, that was across the board.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Like nuclear families, they just raise more well rounded people, and just people with faithful people just seem to be. I wouldn't necessarily. I'm sure there's plenty of nice atheists, but they have more purpose. Like they're gonna have that drive that they pull from when needed.
Call it, carrot and stick type of thing. I mean, if that's what you want to believe, if you're an atheist and believe that people just believe in God, that people only do good because they want to go to heaven, like for a selfish reason. Um, I'm sure that might be how it starts, but I think once you start believing in something and you actually truly believe, then it doesn't matter about the carrot as much. It's just a way of life.
Yeah, because if you believe there's nothing after death, then I guess you want to hold on as long as possible because after that it's nothing. But at the same time, then your present is pointless because being human is a terminal affliction. So it's like I can see why they're like why a lot of people on the left tend to be atheists and why they're so fucking angry all the time
Yeah, this is
because you
it. I
do.
mean, you would think if you believe that there's nothing after this, why be angry all the time? Why bitch about everything? Why cry about shit? Why? I mean, why are you trying to make the world? Why do you care if global warming is happening? If you don't believe that you're going to see it anyways, who fucking cares?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, when our sun blows up and becomes a red dwarf, this planet's gone anyway.
Yeah, I mean, why fall into nihilism? I mean, you're not a nihilist if you believe anything other that affects anybody other than yourself. That's not. I mean, and I can't see how an atheist can be anything but nihilistic.
Yeah, I think that's true. That kind of gets into the next question, so just roll into it. Do you think this current generation that is more so focused on self and have a larger number of atheists have the same values for the country and freedom that the generation from the 1940s did?
Nope.
It's kind of a
How many people hate
an
America?
easy question.
Yeah. How many people hate? I mean, that's because I've kind of walked into it. Um, I mean, how many people hate America right now? I mean, there is a. I bet you there's. I mean, it's not like. I bet you in the 1940s it was the secret commies that lived among us, and that was it, who hated America. Otherwise, it was. I mean, it was less than a percentage point. I bet you can probably. I bet it's less than 10% now, but I bet it's not much less than 10% that hate America.
Well, and that's what's weird. Like what we were talking about earlier today about, and I do agree with you. There's like love of like they literally think that having love of country is a bad thing. And
Some. Go ahead.
good. Well, I was just saying they think it's a bad thing to the point to where they think you're basically a terrorist. Now you are a terrorist to their ideals and their plans for the future of the country. Because if you're a constitutionalist and you believe in what the country was originally founded on, I mean, yeah, you were unequivocally opposed to the new world order and like what they're wanting to do. 100% zero compromise. No.
Yeah, some woman. I can't remember her name, but she's a teacher or something. But it was on the Matt Walsh show. She basically said that the American flag is a far right symbol and portrays racism. The American flag.
Yeah, so that person should fucking leave and go either to the north or
But yeah,
south.
yeah, I'm guessing she still takes a paycheck and lives in this country that she hates so much.
The sad thing is the reason why people hate this country is because it's so easy to live in this country. Like people don't have anything to do, and I don't know. I'm not exactly sure where the whole entitlement thing came from. Like how people, Like they sit here and like literally the people that bitch about colonialism and colonization and boop and all that stuff. It's like you are literally reaping the benefits of the country. Like it's so good that that's what you have to bitch about.
Yeah, I I don't get it. It's again, it's like people just want to. I don't know get what gets them so up in arms about shit. I mean, I don't. What gets me up in arms is people who fucking hate this country. So it gets me up in arms. But there's I shouldn't be up in arms at all because there shouldn't be people who hate this country other than fucking commies and fucking fascists somewhere in fucking
That's what we were
somewhere
talking about
else.
though with the freedoms though. It's like, yeah, I want to live in a free nation, but like there shouldn't be a communist or a socialist or a fascist in the there should be zero representation in the Congress.
Oh,
If you're a
absolutely.
fascist, social, or communist, boom, you're out.
You're
And like,
out.
yeah, if what you believe in is counter to freedom, then and it's an oxymoron because you should have the freedom to, and you do have the freedom to see and or think and say whatever you want. But when that directly conflicts with freedom, there should be zero representation for that in schools, in our Congress, any of that.
Anywhere that's publicly funded or government funded should not have a communist anywhere in it, or a fascist, or a socialist.
So yeah, they I mean definitely on
It's every Democrat then.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
I'd say
and that
70%. 70.
it's a
There's
pretty large
still
percentage right
30%.
now.
There's still 30% that probably love America still.
I think more and more are coming around. Ones that are just voted for Democrat just because they've always voted for Democrats.
I'm saying like in Congress, I mean,
Yeah,
so there's got
I don't get those people. Like, granted, I know they're making money, but it's like I can't believe that they. I mean, that shows you from the very start how you said, "Oh, the big switch." Where, oh no, back in the day, it was they were like Democrats that freed all the slaves, and then there was a big switch. It's like, okay, one, you're dumb. Democrats have always wanted to own people, or were always against anything that had to do with uh, abolishing slavery.
everything
Make
that had to do with slavery or racism, they were for. And they found
yeah,
out that's not a winning ticket because, black people can vote now. So then they're like, ah, we'll just placate to them, but still keep them under our thumb.
and big surprise, they happen to be the party dumb enough to fall in with all this far left bullshit. Which the far left bull stuff is not the far left bullshit is the subversion that's been going on. Like I said, we said before, we don't know who's doing it, but that's the subversion. That's the
It was
subversion
planted somehow,
tactics.
but I mean, yeah, it worked. I mean,
I mean, I
check
doubt
out
it's
our three. Check out our three. Was it 3-part
3 part
episode?
episode. Yeah,
That will tell you a lot what's going on. This I can't remember what it was called. I can't remember.
I think it was in season 1.
It might have been.
I don't know.
It was good. It was
Desmond
good.
off.
Yeah, it was a really informative 3 parts of. I mean, it's going to take 3 hours of your life, but
It's worth it.
it is worth it.
But yeah, if you, but I mean, to the main topic, I mean, yeah, it's easy to see why that generation was dubbed the greatest generation just because of the bravery and sacrifice that they were willing to do to stop evil. So, um, just to kind of wrap that up, how likely do you think another world war is?
I think it's as let's say. I don't think it'll happen this year. Um,
I don't think it's going to happen today, but
I would give if Trump wins, I put it at 30% because things might be just too far for anybody to fix. I mean, it could be next. I could be this year because I mean, now that we've started striking within, or Ukraine started to strike within Russia's borders with our weapons, it could pop off any day. Um, if Biden wins, I'm putting it at 75%.
yeah, I think you got pretty decent odds. The only problem is like So we were talking about D-Day and that type of warfare. I mean, World War One was trench warfare. World War Two was more open field tanks. I mean, tanks weren't as useful, but um, it was a completely different style of warfare, and we've gotten to a completely different now. And over the last 20 years, we haven't been fighting really a real. I mean, we took Iraq in the Middle East when Saddam Hussein was there was very heavily armed. Like they were supposed to be a pretty prominent military, and we literally wiped them out in like less than a week.
Yeah, it was pretty pathetic what happened.
So there hasn't really been, and then even Vietnam and North Korea, those are against third world countries.
Yeah, and they're
So
doing
there
more guerrilla,
hasn't
and
there
they're
hasn't
more
been
guerrilla
major
style.
government, major country conflict since World War II. So I don't
No,
even know what that would
and
look like. I mean, I would hope that the handful of morons check out the episode on elitists or elites wouldn't be dumb enough to use nukes,
nuclear. It
but
would have
like
to be. What else does Russia have? They know they can't win. Let's say it is Russia. That Russia just gets so mad that they just fire off a nuke. Goodbye, New York. Goodbye, Chicago.
yeah, I don't think Russia will be the one just because they have nukes. They're older. Their
But
technology. I think
not
we could.
maybe not fucking us, but maybe Ukraine somewhere. Goodbye, Kiev.
Well, and I think that's where the 75% comes in if Biden gets reelected because I don't know what he'll do.
No, I think he would send our troops in.
He'd probably make it worse.
Oh, absolutely. He's made everything worse. There is nothing he has touched.
I mean,
I'm
I would
trying to
say
think
unless something has already kicked off,
I'm trying to think
I
of
can't
one
see a
good thing
world
he's
war.
done. One good thing, and I can't, other than maybe pooping himself and made me laugh. But other
He's
than
literally
that,
batting 100 on
yeah,
being like wrong on
every foreign, mostly
every foreign
domestic
issue.
too,
Yeah,
and
but like he's
domestic
literally batting 100 for
at
foreign.
poor decisions as a president by far. And there was bad presidents. I mean, a lot of them. But he is by far the worst president.
I'd say he's definitely going down in history as the worst president and probably the biggest joke.
And somehow he might win. Not because of certain reasons, but he still might win.
Well, apparently Trump's getting into the mail-in stuff too. So I mean, you got to fight.
Yeah, fight it with how they do it. Fucking do drop offs, do fucking ballot harvesting, all that shit. Do all the shit they're doing.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I don't like mail-in balloting. I think
No,
ballot harvesting is bullshit.
If Trump
but they're going to do it.
If Trump becomes president, make sure that is one of his top goals. If I can make it a free election, that you have to go, unless you're out of the country or serving in the military, you have to go to a polling place to vote.
See, and that's why like people say states run the elections, and that's true. But I don't think like if it's a federal election, the federal government should be able to set the standard, and then the state can do whatever it wants to meet that standard.
Yeah.
So
Like
they
if you don't
still
want to
run the
have voting,
election.
if you don't want IDs, fine, whatever. You know, you don't have
No,
to.
I think if like if the U.S. government says you have to have a federal ID, like proof of citizenship, you have to vote in person for a federal election. That's fine, and then the states can do whatever they need to do to make that happen.
Yeah.
They still run the election. It's not like you
Hey,
have a bunch of feds doing
if
it.
you want paper balloting or you want to use a fucking machine, so be it.
Yeah, it's like whatever, but you're getting proof of citizenship, and it's in person. And everybody talks shit about early voting. I have no problem with early voting.
No, as long as you go into a polling place and do it, yeah, that's fine. As long as you go to a polling place and vote, that's fine because I don't want to sit in line for 3 hours. Vote.
No, that's why I always vote early.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, that's fine as long as you're going to a polling place to vote. So be it.
Yeah, I don't know what we have militarily, but I really think if Trump, unless something had already kicked off, if Trump gets elected, you can pretty well stave off a world war for 4 more years.
Yeah, and hopefully everybody, stops being a big dum dum and realize, hey, usually when Republicans in office, things are a little bit better.
Yeah, almost like
some Republican, not all of them.
Not all, but most. All right. Well, that pretty well wraps up the main topic. Yeah, it's always. I mean, it's good to remember D-Day was a shitty day. It was a lot of lives lost, but it's just an example of how awesome the U.S. military is and how brave the people that generation were. So I'm glad you reminded me that we needed to do this topic. So
Yeah.
we're a few days late, but
Well, I mean, kind of. We're doing
we're
it on
filming it
D-Day.
on
You guys
D-Day.
were listening to it late.
Yeah,
It's
it's
your
your fault,
fault.
not ours.
Huh. You should have joined us live, even when we know we didn't have that option.
That's right. So that wraps up the main topic, Kevin. Let's get into winners and losers of the week.
Winners and losers.
In my book, you're a winner too. I think you're a loser.
Who's your winner, Kevin?
The Allies, especially America. Back-to-back World War champs, baby! Woo! Whoop, whoop! So, yeah, the Allies. That's, the people who won World War II. Way to go. You guys were the fucking shit.
Well, yeah, that's true. It was hairy there for a while, but yeah, it was. I think it was American ingenuity and grit that won that war.
Yeah, I'm really hoping we don't have to be back-to-back World War champs,
Well, I think if there was another World War and we were involved, we'd probably take the Triple Crown.
Yeah, probably.
I'm just saying, like, if there, because you got to think a World War with modern, like actual countries like China or Russia, something like that. That's when you break out the weapons that people don't know about. And I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, it's alien spaceship, whatever, but anybody, you have to be an idiot to not think that the military, from what you know they have to what they do have, I've heard it's anywhere from 20 to 40 years.
Yeah, ahead of what we know about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I know our numbers are bad and morale, I would assume, is kind of, at least morale for recruitment's down because I think the only people that met their numbers is either Navy or Air Force, and I think they've lowered their standard.
Well, there's always a draft.
Yeah.
So
my winner of the week.
Could you imagine some trans person getting drafted?
I'm pretty sure they would be turned around. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll get into that later.
Okay.
I just want to get to my winner of the week. You interrupting
your winner of the week.
Just unprofessionalism. Has been on multiple weeks is Donald Trump, because although he's a 34-time convicted felon, he raised over $150 million in the month of May, which I'm pretty sure is an all-time record for anyone.
I think he raised $60 million just in one day after when he got convicted. In 24 hours, he raised $60 million. Did you see that Biden? Like he was complaining about whatever dark money or whatever that is. Then he got an anonymous donation of $64 million. Like a day after he was bitching about Republicans and dark money and politicians and dark money and
because of Republicans raising a bunch of money, it's dark money.
Yeah.
Democrats are like, the guy just didn't want anybody to know what his name was.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my winner of the week.
The hypocrisy of people is just amazing.
It's never ending. Who's your loser of the week?
Well, I went with the Allies, so I'm going with the axis of evil. Even though fascism and socialism and communism are all trying to make a comeback here in America, fuck them countries. Fuck them people. We fucked them up. We'll do it again.
We're actually friends with one of them now.
Nah, fuck them. Actually, friends with most of the ones that we fucked up. That's because, they had the mentality, if you can't beat them, join them. And that's what the fuck we did. But we're watching you fucking fascist fucks.
Well, it's funny, too, because everyone's always been afraid of Soviet Union and Russia. I mean, literally all they have is nukes because they were getting they lost more people than anyone else in World War II. They're not like this massive kick-ass fighting force. They just throw people at the problem.
Did you ever watch that movie, Enemy at the Gate? Where they gave one guy bullets and one guy a gun. And they said if he falls, pick up his gun. And that's how they just did it. It's just fucking crazy. It's two people at him, and that's it.
Well, yeah, and it's a conscript military, so but it's just so weird how we were Allied forces, which included Russia, and then like almost immediately after World War II, we were having problems with Russia.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
the
they
whole
were.
thing with Berlin, like the East Berlin Wall, all that stuff, and that's why Russia did something. The communists did something to block supplies to Berlin because at one point that part of Germany like was getting help from Allied forces, and this like so right after the war, Russia starts acting like assholes. They blocked off the entire city, so the United States and Britain got together and pulled off like the largest logistical, just flying thousands of planes in per day, and then apparently they're parachuting toys and stuff in Berlin and all this stuff, and it's like we're just always better. But that's why they put the wall up because the communists noticed that all the people from East Berlin were moving to West Berlin.
Well, yeah, because no one really likes communism.
Yeah, nobody except for the people at the top.
Yeah.
So those are good losers, Kevin. My
Who's your
loser of the
loser?
week is every person celebrating the Trump conviction because they're showing their ass and have no idea what that conviction could potentially mean for the country. You're
I'm
just
still trying to figure out
stupid.
what the felony charge was.
Nobody knows. But anybody celebrating it, like anybody, like they're like, oh yeah, 34, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, you're stupid. It shows like that person right there. That's an ignorant dumbass person because you have no idea. Like, oh no, it's just this one person. Yeah, just like abortion was going to be, what was that? Safe, legal, and rare.
Rare. Yep.
Yeah, no, you. That's why this has to be crushed on the Supreme Court or something because it's not just going to be fucking Donald Trump. Oh no, Donald Trump's
And
a
it's
bad
not
man.
going to be. Eventually, it's going to be both sides. It's going to be a fucking mess. It's going to be. It's going to ruin politics. It's going to ruin this nation. And it's going to. It started right here. Do you really see that they're fucking? Really, Donald Trump was on. He was on some radio show, and he's like, he was saying how bad it was. He's like, oh, if we would have put Hillary in, and if we would have, you know, like jailed all these people and Hillary, and what if I went after like Biden's wife or something, And he's like, we can't do that. He goes, it's a slope that we should never came down. It's something that should never happen. But Biden took, he only took the first part where he said, jail Hillary and like his wife. They totally just took that clip without the beginning part or the end part, and then Biden had the balls to say that he's going after his political opponents. He wrote a thing out that he sent out, on Twitter or X or wherever. There's a statement, and it had this thing about Donald Trump is a wannabe dictator because he wants to jail his political opponents, which is exactly what the fuck he did and is trying to do.
Well, and that's what that only works on the people that literally only listen to left wing propaganda because that literally doesn't work on anybody who listens to. I mean, if you listen to more right wing stuff, I mean, I don't care what anybody says. You can say you're indoctrinated on both sides, you probably are, but I know that there is more true reporting coming out on the right than there is the left. And if you know that you're dealing with somebody who's dealing in conjecture or personal opinion, then okay, it's like I don't agree with 100% of what anybody says.
No.
But
it's just
that kind of shit only flies with dumbasses that like the morons in Texas that reelected Tony Gonzalez or got him in the primary. It's like, oh no, he cares about all this, even though they have no idea what his voting record. It's stupid voters.
it's the name of the show, Common Sense, Lost Art of Common Sense, and it is a lost art. It's like people can't see through bullshit anymore,
And yet we are the artists.
boo, bibbly bop.
Well, that's like even back and I don't get it now. I guess there's something to do with the Facebook algorithm, and I'll be trying it as myself. But like, link in the comments below, because apparently if you share a link, it gets throttled or something. But like back before they had all these safeguards and this bullshit, like keeping the truth, You could always tell when it was a bullshit story. I don't care if it was, good for the left or good for the right. I'm like, no, that's bullshit.
Let's be
Like
real.
back when Hillary's running, Hillary got caught, blah, blah, blah. She's going to jail. Nope, she didn't.
No,
Nope, she's
no.
not.
I see that shit on X all the time still. You see
Yeah,
it big time on Truth Social. They really need to clean that motherfucker up.
Well, we just don't click on it. I mean,
Well,
if
I'm just
too
saying
good
it's
to be
still
true,
annoying
it's too
because
good to be true.
you have to go through like 40 fucking comments.
There's a lot of it. Yeah, they flood
to get to the real comment. Any real comments? I mean, they gotta clean that shit up.
Yeah. That's definitely one of the big things. So that wraps up our winners and losers of the week. On to the Trump truth. I couldn't find any Trump truth.
What I say is what I say.
I couldn't find any funny ones, so I just went with one that's true.
Still good.
It is good. It's all caps again because the dude yells a lot with his thumbs. Joe Biden is not good. Joe Biden is not too old to be president. Not even close. But he is too incompetent and corrupt.
It's still funny.
I don't do a good Trump, but that was the Trump truth of the week.
Trump truth!
What I say is what I say.
All right, let's roll into the happenings of the week, Kevin.
What's happening?
What's happening?
What's happening?
What's happening?
What's happening? What is happening?
Biden border. Apparently he's trying to make one.
Whatever. It's a sham of a border policy. It's not doing anything. It still allows, so if we do 2,499 people a day, it's still close to 1 million illegals coming into this country a year.
Well, from my understanding, all they're going to do is stop processing people.
Yeah.
Are they turning them around, or they're just not going to?
I don't know if they're turning them around. I don't know.
It's a bullshit thing.
But if they go through a port of entry, all they got to do still, even if they go over that limit, they can still go through a port of entry and say they're seeking asylum because they fear for their lives and from the country or something, and they can still go through. They just can't. I don't understand what he's talking about because he's basically just stopped. He's doing something that's not working anyways. He's saying that they won't cross the non-secured part. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's what it is. It's a bunch of
It's a
bullshit.
little too. It's too little, too late.
Well, obviously, it's a political fucking bullshit fucking thing. He could have done this 3.5 years ago. It wouldn't have helped.
All he had to do was nothing.
Yeah. All he had to do was leave everything in place, and this would not be an issue. He would not be as nearly underwater as he is if he would just left the Trump policies, because Trump put him in. He had to turn him around. Then, he couldn't look weak. I think he just felt like he couldn't look weak and put him back in. So he just left it as long as possible. Then he came up with some bullshit fucking whatever. And that doesn't do anything. And, to placate to his fucking, I don't know, his base, I guess. Not his base, but whatever. The Democrats aren't going to vote for him anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a little, too little, too late. Bullshit, token gesture. Next up, it's quick, be cool while it's gay month. Quick, be gay while it's cool month.
Who fucking cares? I mean,
I
seriously, if you're gay, whatever. Why do you need a month? Why? I mean, I don't get it. It doesn't matter. Like, the country placates to gay people all year round anymore anyways. So, whatever. I mean, I don't understand. Why do you need a month to celebrate who you're sleeping with?
The funny thing is this stuff seems to stem back to when back in the day there was a social stigma and people were fired or socially ruined because they were gay. So they're all the actions that they're doing now are based on how it was back then. Because nowadays, nobody gives a shit that somebody's gay as long as you're not
diddling kids.
As long as you're not fucking with kids.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. That's all you had to do. That's all you had to do was to stay away from kids. That's all you have to do. And then no one gives a shit. No one does. No one
Like,
gives a shit if you're gay or not.
We don't need these fucking gay pride parades, all this
No.
bullshit. It's just like, no. Do I care that you're gay? No, I don't at all.
But
Does
do I
it
need it
annoy
shoved
me?
in my face? No.
No. No, thank you. So,
I'll pay for that.
I have noticed that I pay for that kind of stuff. I have noticed though that the displays are a tad bit smaller this year.
Yeah.
It's like an end cap.
Yeah, like last year, every NFL team had their gay pride logo thing. This year, 11 teams opted out not to do it.
It's just so dumb. And, I don't appreciate them taking the rainbow.
No.
What if somebody just like having a rainbow shirt? That
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're gay.
No. You can't wear your
It
rainbow
used to
shirt.
mean like peace and prosperity or something.
Yeah.
Like, no. It means
Or you're
blah, blah,
fucking
blah,
Irish
blah,
or
nobody
something.
gives a shit.
Yeah, the Irish. Every leprechaun's got to be fucking mad right now.
I know. Oh, Don, you don't make my pot of gold gay.
A pot of gold with the pot of dicks.
But the gold dicks. So, yeah, this is an annoying month, and I'm glad that businesses have backed off a bit because I do remember, even in our Target down here, walking in and seeing this huge gay pride shit. And then it's all horrendous clothing. Like, that's what was funny about it. It's all like non-binary bullshit and a bunch of fucking rainbows. It's like, oh, I want a pride. I'm straight. Oh, nobody cares. Exactly.
I think some fucking police force. I mean, there's still plenty of it going on. Like some police force rainbowed out their badges.
Well, and it's like the military, like the special ops part of the Navy fucking put out something for gay pride. I'm like, there is nothing in the government that should be saying anything about Pride Month.
Anything
There's
about
nothing to do
gay or
with the
straight
military.
or anything. I mean, I don't think you should have to be like whatever. What was it? Like, what was the fucking don't ask, don't tell
Don't
policy?
ask, don't tell. Through,
I mean, you
that was
shouldn't have
under
to go
Bill
that
Clinton,
far.
a Democrat.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to do that. But I mean, there's no reason to placate to gay people or lesbians or.
Okay, if your sexuality is a cornerstone of who you are as a person, I apologize. It must suck to be you because you're a loser. If that's all there is to you, I feel legitimately sad for you because that is fucking pathetic. That's enough about Pride Month, Kevin. Let's go on to Tony Ernst.
Joni Ernst, you idiot.
Joni Ernst.
So she is caught on a hot mic. And when she said, because speaking about Biden, because Biden mentioned this himself about his uncle, never trust a man whose uncle was eaten by cannibals. Because he literally said his uncle was eaten by cannibals, even though that was easily fact-checked. False. 100% false. Like, this guy just makes up shit. To fucking... Just like... Whatever audience he has some story about he was black once. One time he, I don't know, had a best friend who was Hispanic. His name was Jose. You know, they played ball in a cup. I mean, I don't know. So there was all these things, like, doesn't matter who he's talking to. He's got some bullshit story that is like the most racist or the most weirdest thing ever.
He kind of acts and does. It'd be obviously more intelligible, but if you were to program an AI to be a politician, that's what Joe Biden does because he literally makes up a story where he tries to relate with whoever he's fucking talking to. Oh yeah, semi. I drove a semi. No, you didn't. And he's always talking about Branson or wherever the fuck he's from, and he didn't even live there that long. Scranton, Pennsylvania. I was a coal miner. No, you weren't. It's like, I don't know. The dude's a fucking idiot. Along with that, Joe Manchin moved to the Independent Party after Trump got convicted and became a felon.
I don't know. It's like,
I think, well, he's not running again.
No, he just moved. He just said he was an independent. He's not running again. Joe Manchin will always vote with the Democrats, other than some.
If it's something important, he's voting for Democrat.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's a far left issue, like some weird shit, he won't. But for the most part, he does. He's a
He voted
Democrat.
with Democrat. He voted with Republicans just enough because his district is actually kind of red.
But a moderate Democrat anymore isn't independent.
Yes. What'd you think about the Fauci testifying and that he did nothing wrong?
I mean, the dude belongs in prison. Let's just say that. I mean, the dude's a horrible person. He's a narcissist. He won't admit he lied. He won't admit that he made shit up. He won't admit that he pretty much ran this country into the ground and that all this inflation between him and Joe Biden has caused all this inflation.
Well, the funny thing is, too, it's not funny at all, actually. It's just another example of two-tier justice system is they have proof that he's lying.
Yeah.
And yet that asshole can go to Capitol Hill and just continue to lie like nothing's wrong.
Well, I
Him
mean,
and Scarflady. I don't know if Scarflady got to deal with somebody, but or let's just put no exposed neck.
oh, she was just on CNN talking about bird flu.
She's gone to the mock turtlenecks.
She's talking about bird flu now.
Yeah, that person should have zero legitimacy, and the fact that assholes keep putting her on TV, it's because I think they're still trying to push the COVID narrative. You don't hear it much anymore, but they'll still bring up, "Did you get your shot?" Sure as fuck didn't.
Sure as fuck. My when I went in for my physical, they're like, "Did you get a flu shot this year?" I'm like, "Nope." They're like, "Did you get your COVID shot?" I'm like, "Fuck no."
Like, I'm a pure blood.
Yeah, my body can't fight it off. I deserve to die.
Exactly. It's like, do you see an arm growing out of my ass?
No.
Sir, that's not a side effect. How do you
Is
know?
is my heart at the regular size? Yes. Then I didn't get the fucking shot.
Just saying. Well, the Hunter case started this week and is moving forward. They picked their jury pretty quick, and it kind of seems like the fix is in for a mistrial.
Well, let's say like New York's fucking Trump. I think he got about 12% of that district where he was tried. Trump got 2% where because they're in Wilmington, which is like where fucking Biden's out of, and like there's a college there with Biden's name on it, like a bunch of like buildings. So yeah, pretty hard.
I'm going to go ahead and jinx it, Kevin. I'm going to say there's no way that he gets a conviction. It's going to be a mistrial.
I bet he does, but I bet it's like
if he gets convicted, it'll be like probation or some bullshit.
Yeah, it's going to be something easy.
But I can almost guarantee it's going to be a mistrial. It's going to be a hung jury. Because they got people that like have... See, it kind of goes both ways because they got a couple jurors that have had alcoholics in the family or drug addicts in the family. And I've had that, and I can't stand them. And I would not use that as an excuse for him not knowing. Like, yeah, drug addicts and hardcore alcoholics are assholes. And they do not deserve any leeway whatsoever. But I think that's why they picked him, to try to get some sympathy. So, I don't know. I just know the guy's a piece of shit and should be probably going to jail for something worse than that. But,
I mean,
whatever.
It's
a political persecution.
Doesn't he still have his tax shit or not?
Yeah, that's coming up too. The only thing I can think of is no, they're all federal cases. So he's a narcissist. He's all about self-preservation. And the only reason he hasn't rolled on his dad is because I'm assuming win or lose, I guarantee you when Trump gets reelected, Biden's pardoning Hunter for, I mean, I would. I'm not going to lie. If I was president, even a piece of shit, and then my piece of shit son was going to go to prison, it's like, well, keep your mouth shut before I put an upper deck in all the White House toilets before I leave. I'll pardon you.
I think I saw where Vivex, I was reading Vivex Ramaswamy, he had an article. He said that Biden could technically pardon Trump. Do you think he should? Do you think that'd be better politically to say, hey, I wanted this to be a fair trial?
You know what? I think election. It would. I think that would be a smart. I would think that would be a smart plan for them.
Yeah.
That way they can say no. This isn't my prosecution. I am not going after my
Yeah, I had
political
nothing
foe.
to do with this. You know,
In fact, I've squashed all federal cases against Trump. I think
Yep.
that would be a good idea.
That's what I would. I mean, that's what I would do if I'm trying. If I know I'm losing, that's the way I would get the independence back.
And the fucked up thing is, people are so dumb they'd fall for it.
Oh, I know.
That's what's sad about it. We now have a socialist. We now have socialist leaders, both to our north and our south. Even though Trudeau might be somewhat of a communist too.
He is Fidel Castro's son.
Yeah.
So
we have an ist,
yeah,
a bad one.
yeah. Some woman far left tree hugging.
The only good
socialist.
ist is a capitalist. Not
so basically.
crony.
I guarantee she's under the thumb of the cartel anyways, because anybody who gets elected as Mexico's president is under the thumb of the cartel, and the cartel controls. The cartels control who becomes a leader and who doesn't in that country. If she wasn't under the control of the cartels, she's going to be dead soon.
If Trump gets reelected and he designated the cartels as terrorist groups, would you have any problem with the U.S. military invading Mexico?
No, because they've killed, 130,000 of our fucking people?
That's like a year.
Yeah.
So I think it's
They
more.
probably killed a million
fentanyl deaths
people.
are like fentanyl deaths are in the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're killing more people than have died in wars in the last 20 years, the 40 years.
I mean, if you really gave a shit about your people, that's what I would give Mexico an ultimatum. Either you clean this shit up, or
Yeah,
I'm
1
going to
year.
designate these people as a terrorist group, and then I'm going to come in and clean it up.
Yeah, 1 year.
Yeah. It's like,
So prepare however you want. If you want to prepare by helping us or by doing this yourself, one way we're coming in.
it's like one way the problem stops.
Yeah.
Either you stop it, or I'm going to stop it, and it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah. Remember what I did
And I
to
wouldn't even
ISIS?
send. You know, I wouldn't even send a troop over there. I would find every cartel confine or whatever compound and just blow it up. Every route, just blow it up. And like, oh, what about all the innocent people? That's the cartel's fault. It's like all the innocent people dying in Gaza.
That's why you give them a
Hamas's
year.
fault.
That's why you give Mexico a year.
Yep. It's like either handle it or we will. Apparently, you told me this. Biden looked like he shit his pants.
He did. It's either it looked like he was it was today, dude, during his D-Day thing, like Macron or whatever the French president is or prime minister. Macron. Like he shook Macron's hand, then he bent over like he was shitting or trying to sit. One of the two. But there was no chair there. So just saying, did he poop himself? Then Jill let him out while Macron was still there. So talking to people. So did he poop himself?
I think the reason why Biden hasn't dropped out is because Jill likes being the first lady. I
Probably.
think it's more about her than him.
Yeah, she seems like she's a fucking treat.
Speaking of somebody who has lost his continence and shitting his pants, apparently the Times, who did actually Biden a favor with the cover. The cover looked pretty decent. It's a pretty good looking cover. It's obviously a lie. But then when you went to the article, it was the full transcript of the interview, which was basically unintelligible.
Yeah, it was gobbledygook and weird. He one time regarded Xi as Putin. He mixed things up. He went from one subject to another, old people, senile old people shit, where they can't keep a train of thought. And, it was bad. I'm not paying for the Times to actually read it, but I've had look it up on the internet. Ben Shapiro did it June 5th. His episode on June 5th, the first thing he talks about is this, and he reads 5 different paragraphs.
He doesn't read it either like he's trying to make it. He reads it
as it is, as it was written.
He reads it as it was written, and he reads it well, and it's just completely unintelligible.
Yeah, so
his delivery of what Biden had said, I can only imagine how bad it was when Biden was saying it.
Yeah,
because of how he talks. Because if
I think
Ben Shapiro can do anything, he can use his words good.
I mean, you had to think, if you're the Times, you're we can't even make this intelligible. So we just got to go exactly
You're
how he
like,
said it.
screw it. Just throw it all out there.
Just throw it how he said it, because I mean we don't know exactly where he was going with this. So,
Which is funny because it makes the cover more ironic.
Yeah,
So,
it was bad.
Yeah, it was. Well, that wraps
listen
up
to Ben Shapiro Show June 5th if you want to listen to
check it out.
the Biden thing.
The June 5th episode. It does give you a peek, and then if you put Biden's speech patterns over what Ben Shapiro is saying, I feel very sorry for the interviewer. But that wraps up the happenings of the week, which means, Kevin, what time is it?
White Slur of the Week!
White Slur of the Week.
What's a honky?
And this week's white slur is wankster, a white person acting like a gangster. And that was the white slur of the week.
What's a honky?
That's my favorite thing.
Short and sweet.
Yet we have not gotten a notice or anything about any of these slurs from YouTube or anybody.
The whole point of starting that segment was to see if we would get in trouble for it, and we never do.
I know we've done this. What? We're 12 episodes in this week or this year. We did it for what, 6 episodes last year?
I think we've been doing it long enough to be noticed. So that's one of two things. One, they don't give a shit if you talk crap and use racial slurs against whites. Or two, even the computers don't listen to the end of the show. It's either one or the other, Kevin.
Which is probably true.
That's probably true. Well, that wrapped that up. You got anything else?
Nope.
Well, in that case, I'm Josh.
And I'm Kevin.
And this has been a totally bodacious, tubular, awesome, stellar, out of the galaxy episode of the last act of Common Sense.
Common Sense!
Common Sense, baby.
Common Sense! Buy our shit!
Buy our shit, and don't forget, don't be boring, be a pirate. We'll see you next week.